the housing situation and the migrant situation in Australia. Over the next 2 years, the federal government, plans to bring in 750,000 new people to this country, even though the latest polling from the Australian Population Research Institute has found that 69% of voters, that's 2/3 or 3/4 of Australians, believe we don't need more people. At the same time, of course, rental listings are plummeting. The latest figures showing Melbourne's tenants have almost a quarter fewer homes to choose from this winter than they did a year ago. Now, of course, the Andrews government today is talking about stripping away first home buyers grants to make it even harder for young people to get into the market. Joining me now to discuss this and more, media writer for The Australian, Sophie Elsworth, and the head of the Institute of Public Affairs, Scott Hargraves. Well, welcome to you both. I'm going to start with you if I can, Sophie. You previously, before you're writing about media, were a financial writer. I can't fathom, A, we don't have a population policy in this country, but why on earth are we bringing in a record number of migrants just at the same time that we've got this extraordinary pressure on housing for everyone who's here already?
Well, Peter, as you pointed out in your column today in The Australian, there is a problem with all these migrants coming in, but people are worried about saying that and being classified as being racist for saying that firstly. But the big issue here is, where are you going to house them? Where's the infrastructure? And so we're seeing, obviously, with little available rents for Australians, they're really hunting for properties and finding it hard. And we know that landlords are having to push up their rents because all their costs are going up. So it's a really difficult situation for both landlords. Also, many of them are having to let go of their properties and sell them because they can't cope with the rising interest rates. So it's a very dire situation for so many different moving parts here.
Sophie's spot on, because we've got 40% of the houses that went to auction recently in Sydney, 40% were investors selling out, 36% in Victoria. I want to go to a story about a quarry in Queensland, Scott, if I can. It was supposed to cost around $176,000. It's blown out to almost $6 million. And this is all because of unresolved Indigenous land use agreements. Now, they haven't got the WA laws yet in Queensland, but we're told there's a whole lot of quarries up there that are basically now in abeyance and not being used because of the concern about legal ramifications and Indigenous land rights in quarries.
This is a terrible situation. Just that one example, Peter, that $176,000 then blows out to millions because councils can't access gravel in quarries that already exist. And then, as you say, you have things like the WA cultural heritage laws, law after law already in this country that is making it harder and harder to do business, more red tape, communities are suffering. And this is why Australians are worried about the voice to Parliament, because they see it turbocharging these kinds of processes. And they hear Anthony Albanese saying that perhaps what we need is national cultural heritage laws. But of course, then the voice to Parliament would have to advise on those. So it wouldn't be getting any better, Peter. It'd be getting much worse.